I've been a passionate NBA fan for more than 2 decades. Throughout these years, I've witnessed numerous intense and heated moments, both physical and verbal. I remember Roger Bell's clothesline on Kobe, LeBron's frequent outburst at Mario Chalmers, and more recently, Draymond Green's ever-growing list of on-court altercations. None of these, however, compare to the trials Caitlin Clark has faced in her brief professional career so far. From enduring mockery from other WNBA players, to being physically assaulted by her peers, to even having her basketball abilities ruthlessly slandered.
Who plays the style that how Caitlin
What is the
plays?
style? Just threes?
Wow.
It's not just threes.
What is
so-
her style?
Anyway, just when I thought it couldn't get any worse for Caitlin, the WNBA proved me wrong. If you haven't heard yet, they recently made an egregious decision by excluding Caitlin Clark from their roster. This marks arguably the most dumbest move I've ever witnessed in professional sports.
The idiocy of Team USA women's basketball. How dare you make this decision?
This decision was so dumb that I had to get my ears checked when I first heard it. And in today's video, I'm going to show you all exactly why and also just how Caitlin Clark completely exposed the Women's USA basketball team.
You don't sit up there and pass on Caitlin Clark. It was stupid, Team USA. It was a dumb decision.
When I talk about Caitlin Clark exposing USA basketball, I'm referring to 2 key individuals along with Diana Taurasi. Here we have Cheryl Reeve, the head coach of both the Minnesota Lynx and the women's national basketball team. Then there's Jennifer Rizzotti, president of the Connecticut Sun and chair of the women's national team committee. And if you're not already familiar with Diana Taurasi, she is often hailed as the GOAT of the WNBA.
Rims around, DT3 with the ball in her hands.
These 3 individuals hold considerable sway over team selections for USA basketball, and it seems they harbor an unusual grudge against Caitlin Clark. For instance, before the 2024 season began, the WNBA shared a social media post highlighting Clark's Indiana Fever facing Dallas in a preseason game, to which Cheryl Reeve responded dismissively saying, "Also in action tonight, blah blah blah, hashtag 12 teams, hashtag the W is more than one player." Cheryl's jealousy over the attention Caitlin is getting is quite loud. This was further emphasized by a comment she made on social media. When someone asked, "Is there a reason why it's not being shown?" and another person responded, "Because they only care about Caitlin Clark," Cheryl added that part, highlighting her resentment even more. Additionally, in a pregame interview before the Lynx faced Indiana, Cheryl once again displayed negativity towards Caitlin, stating the following.
But as a coach, as a home team, there's going to be a lot of people cheering for that other side. I mean,
I'll get 2 shits.
how about 1?
Not even 1 shit.
Next, regarding Jen Rizzotti, she stated that Caitlin was left off Team USA because she didn't meet the selection criteria.
Essentially, it was the committee's job to pick the 12 that, based on our selection criteria. And
this claim was utterly ludicrous, and I'll soon demonstrate why. Equally absurd, however, were the comments once made by Diana Taurasi.
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Diana Taurasi made some outlandish remarks before as well, stating that she wouldn't select Caitlin Clark even if she had the number 1 pick.
I'm taking Paige. Next question.
So if you had the number 1 pick this year, you would take Paige over Caitlin?
Absolutely.
I know this video is titled "The Day Caitlin Clark Exposed USA Basketball," but the truth is, there have been multiple days where Caitlin completely exposed the flaws of women's basketball in America. First off, after Diana made those remarks, everyone was eagerly anticipating the matchup between her and Caitlin. I actually dedicated an entire video to this game, so if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking it out. But to summarize it, Caitlyn pretty much dominated Diana and made her eat her words. Following the beatdown in the post-game interview, Diana's tone about Caitlyn changed significantly. To top it off, about 2 weeks later, the two teams faced each other again. Fortunately for Diana, she had an excuse not to play due to an injury, because had she played, she would have faced even more embarrassment because,
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
in this particular game, by halftime, Diana's team was trailing by 20 points, and entering the fourth quarter, they were down by 23 because, well, Caitlin Clark utterly dominated, finishing the game with 20 points and 13 assists. So much for the claim of reality is coming and that Caitlin was going to get shocked from playing against grown women who have been playing professional basketball for a long time. Anyway, it was in the following game where Caitlin Clark truly exposed the WNBA. This matchup was against the top team in the West, the Minnesota Lynx, coached by none other than Cheryl Reeve. For someone publicly known to be envious of Caitlin, Cheryl Reeve understood that this game was more than just a regular matchup. And for the first 3 quarters, she managed to keep her team ahead, entering the fourth quarter with a 7-point lead. I'm not sure if someone reminded Caitlin of Cheryl's comments, but in the fourth quarter, Caitlin completely unleashed herself.
The Fever needed to start the fourth. That might be one of the more contested looks that Caitlin Clark has gotten tonight, and that's what she knocked down.
From the field to the free throw line to dishing out assists, Caitlin dominated the fourth quarter, nearly outscoring the entire Lynx team by herself with 10 points, which ultimately led to her securing the win and handing Cheryl an L. This loss made everyone defending the decision to leave Caitlin off the women's Olympic team look utterly foolish.
No, I don't think it was disrespectful to leave Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster. She is not one of the 12 best professional basketball players in the United States of America right now.
I mean, their entire argument for leaving Caitlin off the team was simply that she wasn't good enough.
If it's a dumb marketing move, Stephen A., I hear you.
Marketing.
But Team USA is not worried about the marketing. That is not Team USA's mission right now. Team USA is trying to get a gold medal.
Here's Clark, nice find, Agumake push shot, banks in. Clark thinking about a bomb, the hesitation, the take, the lead, Reese the lay, Clark to Reese, what you've been waiting for.
It must have looked even more absurd for those who said Caitlin Clark wasn't good enough after she and her WNBA team crushed Team USA. In this game, while Caitlin Clark didn't have her best scoring performance, she led with 10 assists, demonstrating that she's not just a scorer, but a true team player. This further highlighted the absurdity of her exclusion from Team USA. Now, let's look at the facts of how Caitlin exposed Team USA's hypocrisy. For the longest time, the WNBA has been struggling financially.
We are not asking to get paid what the men get paid. We're asking to get paid the same percentage of revenue shared.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Got it.
There have been numerous instances where they've openly begged for financial support.
You know, we could just take a donation around the NBA, maybe.
Did you know that actually the WNBA's financial struggles were so severe that Kyrie Irving once had to personally donate $1.5 million to cover some of the players' salaries? As of today, people are finally tuning into WNBA games, and it's largely because of Caitlin Clark. Her presence has brought a new wave of attention and excitement to the league. I mean, just look at some of these fans' comments. I can't name a single WNBA team, but I know who Caitlin Clark is. I would have watched the women's Olympic basketball if Caitlin were on the roster. The Fever Games will probably still have more viewers during the Olympics than Team USA will have. The reality is, interest in the WNBA and women's basketball was minimal until Caitlin Clark arrived on the scene. Do you remember the championship parade where the streets were nearly empty? Even during another year's celebration in Vegas, the turnout was less than impressive. I could share my perspective on this, but some fans' comments already capture the situation perfectly. Whoever made it to the parade, I promised they were there by accident. They were probably on their way to a slot machine or get some coffee and were like, WTF is this? Another fan also perfectly nailed the moment, saying, the 102 people that are attending seem to be having a great time. The truth of the matter is, no one cared about the WNBA or women's basketball before Caitlin.
It's not that you're wrong. It's that we don't care.
No one cared, no one really watched, but suddenly, the WNBA had a golden opportunity to let Caitlin change that on a global stage. This could have brought in more views, leading to more revenue, which would ensure players wouldn't have to play in other leagues during the offseason and face difficult situations like being arrested in Russia. But instead, the WNBA reverted back to the same line of thinking that kept them broke for over 2 decades, and simply said she wasn't good enough to make the team.
You get snubbed from a bigger name with lesser numbers, it's a snub. She's not better.
What's even more baffling is that Caitlin is good enough. I mean, she beat Diana the GOAT Taurasi's team twice, overcame the number 1 team in the West in their only meeting so far, then outplayed Team USA. So whatever argument they had about Caitlin not being good enough is absolutely ludicrous, especially when you consider the fact that there are 2 players she could easily replace. Chelsea Gray is coming back from an injury and hasn't looked like herself, averaging 39% from the field and 24% from beyond the arc this season. Then there's Jewel Lloyd, who, despite averaging 20 points per game, is shooting just 36% from the floor and 26% from 3, which is pretty bad by any standards. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, is averaging 17 points per game, making her the 13th best scorer in the league. She also leads the entire league in assists with 8.2 per game. Her shooting percentages from the floor, from 3-point range, and from the free throw line surpass those of the other 2 players. So they're saying that they deserve to be on the team more than Caitlin? And here's where things get even more absurd. Last season, without Caitlin, the Indiana Fever were at the bottom of the conference. This season, thanks to Caitlin, they've surged to 3rd in the East and are currently playoff bound. Clearly, she has the talent to be on Team USA. Furthermore, from a marketing perspective, Caitlin could have brought immense popularity to women's basketball and the WNBA as a whole. Yet, despite being skilled enough to help bring home the gold medal, and despite being a huge marketing draw, she was denied a spot on the team. To add more smoke to this fire, it's worth noting that rookies have made the women's Olympic team before. In 2004, for example, Diana Taurasi was selected as a rookie. In 2008, Candace Parker made the team as a rookie. Similarly, in 2016, Breanna Stewart was chosen as a rookie. There is some serious animosity at play, and Caitlin Clark, by consistently beating her opponents on the court, has truly exposed their true colors. But anyway, do y'all know the whole story of the intense rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese? The rivalry actually goes way back and has been fascinating to watch over the years. If you're curious about the whole story, make sure to check out this video right over here.